let's get into it here. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to today's SolidWorks Live Solve. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing a challenge found over at totaltoby.com. We just released this challenge for everybody here on Model Monday Live. It's currently 1:35 p.m. We released it at 1:33 p.m. And that challenge can be found here by going to totaltoby.com and accessing the full library. What we do at totaltoby.com is we challenge you to use any 3D CAD system you want to go through and practice your 3D CAD skills. It's kind of like a gym for your CAD brain. So you can see here that we've got over 350 challenges here in this library, modeling up parts that you'll find in the real world, modeling up parts that you'll find in mechanical engineering, and really just kind of practicing your skills so that when you encounter these parts in the real world or in your job, you know what features to use, you know how to model up these parts. And what we do every week on Model Monday Live is we release a new challenge up at the top here, available for everyone, whether you've got a paid account to unlock the entire library or whether you are using a free account. We have what are called the featured models. Our featured models sponsor this week is cadpractice.com, designed for middle school, high school, and college classrooms. Less stress for educators, more fun for students. Let's go, let's go. And so you can see here that at the top of the library, we've got this new challenge, 26-08-02. Let's give this thing a try here. This challenge is going to be using SolidWorks. My name is Toby from the United States, and 3, 2, 1, go. And so the question here is, what is the mass of this part in xx.xx grams, and the tolerance is plus or minus 0.02 grams, kind of a tight tolerance on this thing. And I'm going to click this button here that says open in a new window. That way I can make the drawing a little bit bigger so I can see it. And before we actually jump into the 3D CAD, I always think it's a great idea to take a moment and come up with a game plan. And one of the first things you want to ask yourself is, where should the origin be located on this part? Now, I think that for me, the origin is going to be located right here on this part. Now, why is the origin going to be located right there on this part? I think the reason I want to do that is because it allows us to make sure that the origin is going to be right at the center of our first feature. And I think our first feature for this part is going to be a revolve. Now, with the revolve, what we're able to do is we're able to create a sketch that looks something like this, and then create a center line. And then we're able to revolve that shape about the center line. And I think what's going to happen is I'm going to take this shape here and I'm going to revolve it first. And then I'll kind of focus on what's going on with this shape up top here. This shape up top here is kind of interesting because it is also probably revolved. We've got this conical face here. So that shape probably also needs to be revolved. But the challenge of this model is that shape is, it's kind of like overlapping with our existing shape. Like these edges here line up. This face is conical. You've got this kind of like extra geometry here. So how the heck are we going to do that? How are we going to have this shape and this shape both merged together? Well, maybe what makes more sense, maybe instead of doing this lower shape first, maybe it would actually make more sense to do this upper shape first. So create a shape like this and do a revolve. And then looking down on this from the top, maybe I'll lop away those side sections. So now I'll just have, I'll cut this away. Now I'll just have that kind of thin shape like what you see here sticking up. And then I could go in with my secondary shape. And then in my secondary shape, I could create this shape here and revolve it. And then I could revolve that a full 360. Yeah, I think I like that plan a little bit more. Now, the reason I'm explaining it this way is because I think this really helps to understand the idea of order of operations and how you make the process a lot easier if you kind of like come up with a game plan before you actually jump into your 3D CAD system. Because if you do come up with that game plan too late, what you might do is you might make this shape first, and then you might find that you're kind of struggling to create this shape, or maybe you end up doing that shape as like a multi-body application. So then you revolve that one, and then you do the cut, and then you merge them together. That's certainly an option as well. But that's really the benefit and the beauty of practice, of doing these practice models and kind of just going through the reps, going through that kind of CAD gym where you're going through and doing all these practice models, because that way, when you do encounter something like this in the real world, you're going to be good to go. You're going to know exactly what to do. So then for my third feature, for my third shape, for my third feature, I'm going to need to kind of hog this thing out on the bottom. You can see that this shape kind of comes up and in and over. And maybe what I'll do is I'll just kind of cut that whole shape away with another cut revolve. Now, we could do it with a shell, but if you remember, at this point, we're going to have these two bodies merged together. So shell might not actually be the best solution there. Shell, you might make the argument do a shell and then do some delete faces. We love doing delete faces here at Too Tall Toby. But I think what I'll probably just end up doing is just another cut revolve. So just do a cut revolve here. I can reference this original sketch and just make another cut revolve that comes in 4 millimeters, cut out that inside inside shape. And then all that's left to do is just extrude this sleeve down and then extrude this D cut down. And then we should be good to go. We should be done with that replacement oven knobby. We could 3D print one of these and then take it up to the oven and start working with it. So I'm going to move this over to my second screen. I know I took about 3 minutes and 40 seconds there to come up with a game plan, but if you think it's a good idea to come up with a game plan before you jump into your 3D CAD, hit the like button on this video. I think it's always good to come up with a game plan. Let me bring up my keyboard cam so you can see any of the keyboard shortcuts I'm using. Let me move the clock over here so that we can kind of keep an eye on the clock. We can see how long it's taking us to complete this challenge. And let's get into it here in SolidWorks. So I've got SolidWorks up here in the background. Let me move SolidWorks over here. Okay, we're about 4 minutes in already. So we gotta hustle here. We gotta hustle here if we're gonna catch up to some of the other speed runners. So we're gonna go new. I'm gonna create a part using my template that I've created in millimeters and in ABS as the material. So let's go in here now and let's go to the front plane. I'm going to begin a sketch, kind of stick with my game plan here. S key, I'm going to choose to create this sketch using revolve. So I'm going to create a revolve here. I'm going to come over, up. I'm going to kind of come up high there for that upper cone shape, come down like so. Close off that sketch. I'm going to create another line here down below. I'm going to hit escape and click on that line and make that line for construction. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the geometry for that upper cone shape. So the diameter, it's the same as the OD for the part. So the diameter there is 66. The height to the beginning or to the top of that shape, the height there to the top of that shape is 42, kind of like my max height. The diameter of the conical shape at the top there is at 38. It's kind of like the max diameter of that conical shape. And then the location here from the base is 18 millimeters. And so I can take that shape and then I can do, get that sketch fully defined. And then I can take that shape and I can go features revolve and I can turn that shape into my revolved shape. So now I've got that revolved shape there, hit the green check mark. And now I could go top plane, begin a sketch, orient my view, and I can just create a center point rectangle. So just create a rectangle like this. And then we can say that this edge of the rectangle, hold control, pick this circle here, let go of control, it's tangent. We can do a width there of that kind of upper shape. So the width of that upper shape is 20 millimeters. And then we can do S key extrude cut, and this extrude cut is going to be a right mouse button through all. So the extrude cut's going to go through all. Let's right mouse button, let's reverse direction as well. And then over here in the property manager for that extrude cut, let's click this button here, flip side to cut. So instead of cutting what's on the inside, we're going to cut what's on the outside. We hit the check mark and boom, there we go. That gives us that kind of middle shape there, that thinner kind of middle shape there of our knob. So now that we've got that middle shape in place, now we can go front plane again, begin a sketch, orient our view, and we could maybe show that original sketch because we could reference some of the geometry from that original sketch. So show that original sketch, and the geometry you might reference might be like this point here, this point here, this point here. We could come up like so, and then this one's going to come over, and it's going to have a different angle for that shape. So we'll come over like that, and now we can go in and we can look at the dimensions for this thing. Looks like this one is 30 up to this location. 30, I'm seeing that in the front view. And then this one has an angle dimension of 45 degrees. So 45 degrees here for the angle of that kind of lower cone shape. And now we can create a center line here, kind of come down, just copy this earlier center line. And then we can go features, revolve, and just turn that thing into a revolve. And oh yeah, look at that. That gives us the geometry for that knob. Now, this again is where, practice, practice, practice. The more you practice, the more ready you're going to be for creating shapes like this. So now we see that for the remainder of the geometry, what the section view is showing us here is showing us that this upper region here is filled in solid, showing us that upper region there is filled in solid. Now, I know that if this was going to be injection molded, that may or may not be okay. You might end up with like some sink marks here. So, you need to be a little bit careful when you're actually getting into manufacturing. But that's something I would have a conversation with the mold maker and ask if we can get away with that, or if we need to maybe like make this pocket come up deeper so we have closer to uniform wall thickness there. But in this case, this is still just a tier 4 challenge. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave that solid, which means that maybe we want to make that lower shape a cut revolve. So we could begin a sketch here, orient our views is front plane again. And you'll notice here that now I can really take advantage of my earlier sketches. Now, hold on, let me just exit this sketch here for a second. One thing that I like to do a lot of times is if I'm going to use an earlier sketch, let me hide this one. I'll show that earlier sketch. So I'll show this sketch here. And then what I'll also do is I'll right click on that sketch and I'll say sketch color. And I'll change that color to something that really pops out, because now you can see how easy it's going to be for me to reference this sketch. So let me go front plane, begin a sketch, orient my view. I'm using Control 8 there to orient my view. And now I can create a line here that comes up vertical. Now I can create a line at an angle, but before I go to drop this line, I can put my mouse over this line and it kind of like activates that line and it gives me a parallel relationship to that line. And now I can come over here. Now, it didn't actually give me that parallel relationship. It was white, which means it's just kind of like referencing that relationship, but at least they're both already parallel. And now I can really easily pick this line, hold Control, pick this line, let go of Control, and make them parallel. And that's going to add that parallel relationship. Now I can get in and add some of those dimensions, like this distance here is a distance of 4 millimeters, and this distance here is a distance of 4 millimeters. Or we also could have used like offset sketch, right? We could have done an offset sketch there. And this distance here is also 4 millimeters. Okay, and now once again, we can create our center line. We can continue to trace that center line that we created earlier. And now we can do another revolve, but this time it's going to be a revolved cut instead of doing it as a revolve feature. So a revolve cut here, cut away the inside of that thing. Oh yeah, that's looking good. We like it, we like it. And now we just need to add that kind of sleeve area. So for that sleeve area, let me hide this sketch here. For that sleeve area, I would almost certainly do it in 2 steps. I would create a sleeve here, the kind of like lower sleeve. So this is going to have a diameter of 24. S key extrude, double click, right click. Okay, so that takes that extrude and it makes it go up to surface there, up to surface. And then I would rename that and I would call this something like lower circ sleeve. And then I would create my second feature as the D-cut. So looking at this thing here, it looks like the D-cut is going to be, so what I did was I oriented my view here. So I'm looking at it the same as this view here, kind of like the main view of the part. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap the arrow keys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm tapping the up key there 6 times. And that way I'm kind of sure that I'm making the D-cut in the correct orientation. So pick this face here, begin a sketch, S key, circle, drop in a circle there. That circle is going to have a diameter of 15 millimeters. And then S key line, drop in this flat line here, make sure that it's vertical. And then I'll hit escape and then I'll S key trim. And then with the trim command, something that I always like to do is I like to use this option here, keep trimmed entities as construction geometry. So let's say we don't use that. I'm just curious what happens to this dimension. So it actually worked out. It left it behind. Sometimes I notice those dimensions will end up going away if you don't leave the extra behind. But if we S key trim here and then we leave that trim geometry as construction, the dimension will stay. So just kind of a cool thing to look out for. You can trim, but instead of completely getting rid of it, you just break this into 2 segments, and then make that one for construction. You do it all in the trim command. So S key trim, and it's right down here, keep trimmed entities as, whoops, maybe you guys can't see that. Move this up. Let's see here. I'll just zoom in on it. It's down here. Keep trimmed entities as construction geometry. Check that option on. And then when you go to drag through to trim, it just makes that a construction line. It's pretty cool. Or construction arc. And then the distance to that line. So I do a smart dimension, click on this line here, hold shift, click here on the arc. That gives me the distance in to the max point of the tangency. So 12, enter. And S key, extrude cut, and it's a blind cut, so the depth is already highlighted. So 20, enter, enter, and yes, there we go. That should do it. So now we right click over here. We say we want that to be made of ABS. You can come over here if you want to the menu, change this to gray. You could go here and you could rename your features. I would rename this one to lower D cut, and I would probably go through and rename all the other ones as well. And now we can go and take a look at our sensor here. So we can see in our sensor, we're coming up with an answer, but I always like to make sure I control Q before I accept that answer. So we're coming up with an answer here. It looks like it's coming up as 49.74245, something like that. So we go back here into the app, 49.74 and enter. And yes, let's go. Let's go. We did it. Congratulations, everybody. We did it. That's what it's all about. Getting in there and getting that answer right the first time and coming up with that purple box. We love coming up with that purple box. So it looks like we did it in 13 minutes, almost exactly 13 minutes. Not bad. Not bad. All right. Let's see here. Is there a difference in the use of hide versus isolate body in SolidWorks? Well, hide is going to hide the body. Question here came in from the chat from Eric. Hide is going to hide the body. Isolate is going to show that body but hide everything else. And isolate also kind of takes you into like a temporary mode that you can get out of. So I would say yes, there is a difference. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for today's. Yeah. So printed out maybe one of these guys here. Okay, so if you have an oven knobby, there's some stuff you have to be careful of, right? You probably want to do it with like PETG or maybe even ABS. PLA is probably not going to be able to withstand the heat. But then maybe like on here, if you just printed this and then you go to apply torque, it's probably going to snap right off. So what you could do is you could get in here and maybe pick this face, begin a sketch, orient your view, S key, line, drop in a line here like so, features rib, and then apply a thickness here to that rib. Let's say we make it like 4 millimeters thick. We'll just kind of match the thickness for the other ones. And then you could take that rib and you could do a circular pattern, and then you could maybe make like 6 of them going around. I mean, 3 might even be enough, but maybe make like 6 of them going around here. And now you've addressed that issue of the stiffness, and you're really kind of bracing that thing in the location where torque is going to occur. So torque is going to occur here, right? It's going to occur really on the inside of this face, but you're going to experience torque on the inside of that face, and you're going to experience probably a break. I would anticipate a break right here if you didn't have those ribs. So it would probably just snap off right there. And that's not going to be fun, especially if it's hot. And that's not going to be any fun at all. So yeah, I love that. I love that idea. Maybe we'll make a version 2 where we include that. But yeah, that's a really, really great observation there. I think it was Jay who said that. Yeah, Jay, great observation. And yeah, I would think that without that, especially out of a weaker material like just a regular PLA, that thing would just snap right off under any kind of a reasonable load.